I was born in Santiago, in Quinta Normal. My mother was Clara Luz Diaz. My grandmother was from Switzerland. She was a daughter of a Switzerland refugee in Chile. My my first years in life where I had to live with my grandmother. For several reasons, my mother didn't feel well. I had to pass most of my childhood with my grandmother. That for me was tremendous experience. She was religious, she was Christian. My father always was pastor from the Christian church. My mother was Catholic. So I was surrounded by these Christian values around. But my grandmother gave me this sense of humility, really, that she passed into me, respect for people, really, and a goodness that was very natural in her, like a peasant kind of, mentality. Very, very humble as well. So my childhood really was nice with a lot of friends. We play in the corner of the street, play football, all sort of basically games. Of course, no toys at all, no money for toys. I don't know if to call poverty really, but the poverty was it was something so natural that you see a neighbor asking my mom for some sugar, for example, for the for the breakfast, and my mother had to go to ask for some crate at the corner shop to pay later on. Things like that, you see, nothing in excess. So it was a nice education, really, a very humanistic education. They may be very humanistic, actually, concerned about other people's reality, no? So this is basically what I can tell you about my childhood, really. So by accident, I met a very important artist in Chile, and he was the director of the museum, the main museum in Santiago, the Contemporary Museum, and he introduced me to what changed my life. He introduced me with a letter to another famous sculptor as well, and she was teaching at the university, in the Catholic University, the Catholic University, the rich people's university, actually. I have only my primary school. I didn't have secondary school. I have no idea what art was about. But I went there as a free student, not regular student. And I took there for about 2 years. And curiously enough, I was in the third year sculpture, and there was a competition of the student competition at the end of the year, and I won the second prize. And that was a real surprise to me with the work I did. And according with some of my teachers, I would deserve the first prize. I don't have a photograph of it, but that was the first prize I got, and it was really surprising and nice for me, really, to feel that, oh, I can do something important. But I didn't have the secondary studies, so I wanted to study arts at the university properly. So I start studying in evening classes to make my secondary school. I finished it, and when I was studying there, I was fell in love with a nice girl, very nice, romantic affair. But because I was really not 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 somebody for her. She was studying at the university, and his father was a bit concerned about it, and finally decided to ask her, "Look, well, I have no job. We better not to not keep going with our relationship, but I come back to you when I really get a good job." And it was about a year. I was desperate, trying to find. I contacted one MP, asked her to help me, and she was, I've been director of a school. She understood my problem, and she said you, I promise I will give you a good price. And in months' time, I got a place at the parliament. So I keep my secondary studying at night, working during the day. I finished my secondary school. I went to the university, and the university where I really went into politics, because there I saw a young generation, educated one, artists that were most of them from the left, some of them communists, some socialists, some ultra left as well. So I started reading Marx, Lenin, interested in politics, and finally decided to go into politics. And working at the parliament, I saw the light, what means to be politicians, what politics is about, and how it works. So it was a tremendous experience that very few people have access to that kind of kind of reality, no? So I joined the Communist Party, and I was working at the Communist Party when I was expelled from the government because there was military coup in Chile, and the dictator, of course, launched a fierce attack against the left, killed a lot of people, prisoners, persecution, and so on and so forth. And I think because my I don't know, my the bosses at the parliament, they saw me as a I don't know, as a person that wasn't, I don't know, danger for the state. I don't know. They in a sense protect me, really. I didn't know that, but I I kept working for about a year at the parliament, but I was working on the ground for the party, and inside the parliament it was operating the headquarters of the DINA, that was the secret service of the dictators. So it was very pretty dangerous to be there, being a communist, anything would happen, everything would be uh, danger for me, because they could say, well, this is the company that is working here. So I resigned to it, forced by circumstances, and also because something was building up there. And I was working in the ground about 2 years, and the situation became very, very, very dangerous. And the party said, look, Sergio, you can take the decision. If you want to keep going, well, it's your decision, but we suggest you to live for a while. So I left the country, went to Argentina. There I lived for about, I was already married with 2 children. So I was there about 2 years. I was working in a factory when one day I went back home. We are visited by a group of military and civilian clothes, and they a lot of mess really about, and they promised to come back again. So because of that, I went to the United Nations offices and explained the situation, and in a month I was given the British government accepted me as refugee, and I traveled to England, here to Sheffield, and since then I'm living here in Sheffield. This, in short, what politics was about.
Right. Could you describe in a bit more detail, sort of, so how old were you when the coup happened?
Well, in 1970, we elected a president, a socialist president. I think it's the first president in history that, with the promise of transform the society into a socialist economy, the first time elected by people, not by military, by coup, by armed struggle, but he was overthrown it was 3 years. Yeah. After 3 years, he was overthrown by the military. Of course, with the United States behind it. So, well, the popular government really tried to implement a program of policy in favor of the working class, to build up really a society on the basis of equality and real democracy, not just democracy you vote and forget about you. And here participating in the issue of the country, being part of the collective effort really to build up a different country. But I was finishing my study at university. That day, I went to do some duties at the party during the night, and in the morning when I was walking towards the job at the parliament, I was at the lower chamber, Cámara de Diputados. I heard the radio that something was going on, fishy something on. Well, it was a military coup. And well, I saw a lot of things there during that day, because I went back to a city center as a staff, bringing some paper to different ministers, yeah. So I saw all what's going on there. I saw it. I saw about 20 meters away was the presidential palace that was bombed at that time. So I lived, really lived the military coup. I really lived it. Well, as I said, started persecution against the left, and it was horrible, really horrible time.
Okay, that's great. So you moved over to Sheffield, and then your family grew and grew, and you got grandchildren.
Yeah. Well, I have 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. Patricia and Christian were born in Chile, and when I left to Argentina, Janet followed me 2 months after with them, so that we come to England.
So you were on your own without your family for 2 months?
With my family, with my wife and 2 children, yeah.
When you went to Argentina, you went on your own?
On my own, yeah, I had to go on my own,
How
yes.
was that? Describe that.
Well, because I had to. One of my comrades was taken into prison. He was tortured, and her wife has 6 children on her own, and they were working with him. So the next one could be me.
Right.
So I had to leave as soon as possible. Well, so Janet followed me later on, and there the children start school and things, and we live in a place where there were, we call Rancho de Goma, was a rubber house, to say, or a rubber, I don't know, shed or whatever, because 16 people live in that place with 2 rooms. Can you imagine that, with children and so on and so forth? That was the reality of a real refugee in Argentina. And so when we come to England, we arrived with Janet, Patricia, Christian, and Tanya, and Patricia and Christian, and later on Tanya was born. So fortunately for me, my children are really, I am very proud of them. All of them, what you call good citizens, right? Well educated, kind, very humanistic, and they have nice families, really. So we Janet, we have 8 grandchildren. One of them is at the university at the moment. The next one is starting next year. And then at the bottom, then the twins, the 4-year twins. Yes, I believe me, I am very lucky, because from my very beginning, it was a dream, something like a fairy tale, to think that when I was 79 years old, I would be an artist doing something relevant in Britain, but also with a nice family. So a dream of a man, his dream was fulfilled, really, even with more than I deserve, actually. Yeah.
Tell us about your mural then, how that came about.
Well, to start talking about the mural, we have to refer to the time of the Margaret Thatcher, 1970s, 1980s. Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, the beginning of free market and all this stuff. And well, you were not born yet, I suppose, no? But that time was, I think, one of the worst times in British history for the working class, really. Well, of this century, no? Because before it was worse, no? But politically it was really, really hard. A lot of unemployment. And there was a place called SCOW, Sheffield Center Against Unemployment. And there all the unemployed could go for meetings and for, to have assistance about different things. And Daniel, my youngest brother, was working in the underground as well, in doing muralism, but not the classical muralism, but this street muralism, making a street statement with painting. And he had to leave the country because there was two of the comrades that were working with him were assassinated. They could have their throat. So Daniel had to leave the country. He wanted to come to Spain. And he was stopped here in Britain, and they wanted to develop to take him back to Chile. So Jeremy Corbyn knew the case, and he helped him, and he got a permit to stay in England. So he didn't speak English. I couldn't help him too much about the language because I was in the same problem. But because of the experience he had, he was in mental shock. So when I saw him living the same process on his own, I thought I had to do something. And he was a very, very clever artist, really, painter. So I suggest him, can we do something, a mural, the work you did in Chile? And he said, oh yes, okay, yeah. So I offer a mural for the Center Against Unemployment in honor of the working class unemployed people. And we make a proposal for the outside the building in Watt Street, a one-store building. But it was refused by the bureaucracy. It broke the environmental view, when in fact was the poorest. It was a horrible place to go there, because in front of there you had to go to sign on. So every unemployee had to go there. So it was a dirty place, dark. My goodness. So I was so cross. I said, Daniel, do you think we can make something really, really strong, like a mural, like the muralist, the Mexican muralist? I said, but we are not professional. Let's go and have a try. I can help you. We can conceptualize something important. And I took the idea from Pablo Neruda, our Nobel Prize in Poetry. He wrote a book called Canto General, that is the history in poems, in heroic poem called Canto General, where he talk about the story of all Latin America from the very, very beginning up to the 1970s and the 1950s. So we can take this idea, the same structure that he gave to the poem, so we can talk about the history of the class struggle all around the world for British people. No, it's too complicated. 2 years took. 2 years. Visiting to the library, photographs, everything. And we got the support from the coal miners. They gave the money for it. And we painted in 2 years. And now, when Tony Blair came to power after Margaret Thatcher, people really below that, and, oh, that's revolution or whatever. And he was a real disappointment for people, a traitor of the cause, really. And the first thing he did, no, from now on, we are in power, no more unemployed. There is no unemployment in Britain. So the place where the unemployed meet, have the meeting, something, was taken over and built offices there. So the mural that was located there was put behind a wall for about 10 years. Eventually it was recovered, but was put into another place, completely forgotten. And believe me, I follow all the possible ways, telephone calls, meetings, trying to get somebody to rescue it. Nobody wanted it because it's I don't know, it's too much for the bureaucracy, really. Fortunately, it was adopted by the city council. Museum galleries took it, so it belongs to the city. It belongs to the art collection of the city, and it's displayed at the Millennium Gallery, which is a real privilege for us to be at the very entrance of the museum, and it's permanently there. It's a real privilege for us, really, for my brother and for me, to have it there, really. But it took 20 years to rescue it. But I think, thinking about it, not thinking that we made it, I forgot about it. It's an accident in my life that we made it. It's just happened. But I think that work, that mural, is very precious for the cultural development of the muralists in Chile. I think I can say it's one of the best, really. It's very in the line of the Mexican muralists. And it's real. It's not just abstract paintings, abstract images. No, this is real story. Took seriously 2 years of research and painting. So this, I think, is an achievement for our Chilean community, because it's going to be here permanently for the rest of, I don't know how long.
And then, lastly, if you talk about your other big work, your life's work, your book.
Well, the book,
just quickly, and then
it wasn't the idea of producing a book, really. The first attempt I made to write something was in Argentina. I wrote two children tales or short story for my children, really, in Spanish. But here in Britain, when I was unemployed several times, helping my wife with the children because she was a childminder, I thought, well, I had to do something because as a cop, I don't have a place, I don't have the money, I don't have the contacts. Nobody know me. What the point of making a sculpture when nobody would care about it? So I started writing. And then I said you concentrate in writing about your history, about what your reality, about your life. And I didn't think it was meaningful actually. I started writing about it. So I make a lot of things, short stories. I don't know, a lot of experiment in literature. And I have to produce about 3 books, a lot. And a friend of mine in Chile saw it. She's a writer. She has published a lot of books. And she said, Sergio, why don't you publish? No way. I said, no money to publish. It's too expensive. I said, let us try. And she started doing all the work, really. She put everything together. She said, make a design for the cover of the book. Organize the book. How do you like it? I will do my husband. He's a programmer on computer. So they did all the heavy work, and they said, you know, sir, we're going to do something. We're going to publish under Amazon. Amazon will not charge you any money. The only thing I will ask you is the money you have to pay for, no, to how is it called that?
Listing.
Hmm?
Listing.
No. You have to register your work. Register your work and some other expenses. £100 altogether. And it was published. And it's there. Can I show you?
Watch out. Just put it in your pocket. Yeah, get it out.
Here's the book.
Put the recorder back on.
Very proud.
Put the recorder back on there. Yeah. On the grip.
Very proud of it, really. I never thought I would produce a book. So, if you want to buy it, it's in Spanish. It's called Chronographies. And my name is Sergio Bustamante. So you can buy it £10. Ready to rock?
Didn't take long, did it?